the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
My famon copium ewo the Accra High Court. Nabusia menemo kasei ene court ko asetna ewo Ablekuma North Rerun parliamentary election baso anayisi edibetu udwa se baso nyame ya aduma 11 July ebe Friday ya edi enimu ya na enena enam so ayem se Nsem-Pii na NPP amanyoko no ede ababetu bia so omde stand by court orders Nsema court edibetu udwa se yisi provide tight security Ninko collate results no for fronti. Rerun na yisi edi ababetu udwa there's no way some NPP amanyoko no nyame aduma Friday ombeko no se omokọ akọhwe animu ama abato no akoso na NPP amanyoko no se ombebo te yisi Rerun na odi abase bekoso Ablekuma North parliamentary election nanene okopemu okoto a NPP amanyoko no ana NPP parliamentary candidate any NPP leading member of legal affairs lawyer Gary Nimakon etabi asemwe ekopemu the Accra High Court senka court no hwe no fa injunction ento yisi and some of the about to said there will be a rerun Ablekuma North no put 19 polling stations no na presiding judge Justice Alibaba Abatwa wabo assembly atuagu ana injunction ka NPP amanyoko no say court no enfanto rerun na yisi edi abetu bia Ablekuma North no the presiding judge Justice Alibaba Abatwa abo assembly atuagu nene namso nene Dennis Marcus abwaje enso de Nsem-Pii na ababetu bia efa court no sensem ene Ablekuma North Rerun no nyenjibre nientie de court no emra ewia na Dennis Marcus abwaje nso nsem no me de atoa so ama Nsem-Pii atifo na Nsem-Pii phone so ati
yango eri madu 106.3 eni enu anma sempa 94.7 insha 104.5 tisti angaza kasi ebo ni eguso aye de ma ono na yenkwahi praise oguso asi edu wodomoso ene wode na nie di nsamachi na embranifo e friends Gary Nimakon so wono wa embranifo a wogina mu di ama Ablekuma North maami a wogina mu di ma MPP amanyoko no na maami akwa friye en whatever nsam na de akopie mu okoto na nsam a wode kokoto nyina da ene se ya kwa te sa abato komisa wo kontemaja court contempt of court esansa abato komisa se Ablekuma North abato no wa miamia mako du be nsa nkono wo mo kono masa akoto biewu na so asem edika court ama court ahye se aba no miamia miensa ene omo nkenkan foforo ntie be nwanwa so omo betwe court ano awo fom tie ne wasa tabira asem ne de court se contempt ye piemu ouzu akwabo
mejo so kumi
ahwode ho
ameho tin se nyame asem
entie ukopie mu court ya akozi se
yo wa court asetena no se de odi kan le tudwa no lawyer ema Ablekuma North wo MPP amanyoko no parliamentary candidate ekwe free Gary Nimakon edeto judge nenim Alibaba Abaturu enim se ohwe anamontu a electoral commission etu ye no ohun se etiamra di nti a wo ba high court emma o to me say ko na 62 polling stations aka no NDC ni MPP enka wono mob na results a wo enyaye no di obedi nkunim no na mo de ni dia tudwa se wono ena ye mra so bideni ewo ho enti no Ebanistan electoral commission wo bedu ye a wo tu sa na mo no eka polling stations miensa wo se otu aso no wankasa mu de betu dwa se muhia apostifo banbo na munyanya yentina ema muntumi enya den enwie ye eti deputy chairperson ema electoral commission Dr. Bosman Asare wo ko tuna amra shebedwem de ko tu dwa wo se aka miensa polling stations miensa se mo ye den muwie na muntumi enwie ye eti eba ne sen na fedie wodi abetu dwa se emu 19 ana wose mokoto aba ewo Ablekuma North nyame yadoma July bosumene da etoso dubako enti no hwe na montu electoral commission na etu a ohu se emremu no emfa kwemu kra enti ko hwe se court no ebema electoral commission enetu na nka watwentwen so na abato ebekoso nyame bo a efiada no enkoba so na onsambra court emetre court die ntia otu sana mona court abra high court amano to be the down say on fasa kwan dada no so a won sa ekwan no na no ana judge ni na libaba bisa eye lawyer ni mako say enti wan kasa ogina lawyer me pese me bisa o say electoral commission miensa na aka no se wo mo beko ka eye results na bomu no
ouzu enchemu ne de adi ka de atodwa dada na yenya ne ntie sa na nko mu pendafuo du injunction na so court abato agu se ne ho semte
judge na ebotugu ya judge na ewie na o se metie lawyer wasem na nso no se metituma enye yi mabogu dem mo electoral commission e wo ho tumi eye constitution ma ho kwan se wokoye den wokoye rerun eye election no etu wo ho kwan pa so betumi akoye den akọ ama omanfo akoto aba ede yi mrahebedeni e wa Ablekuma North
na ne yan fancy e na fu ani di nsem na chi prince owu so asie du wodomos na de ekoso e wo court wo de ho nsem ato yanim ni tekua asem no court abato ogu and over Facebook
no Ablekuma North and your decision to boycott
to Ablekuma North. I think it's a straightforward matter.
Is it?
I mean, we have laws of this country. The laws are quite clear that if you go into a contest, the Electoral Commission will do a coalition and then they will do a declaration. Declaration comes in different forms. There's a winner or it's a tie. Then there are subsequent directions as to what the law says we should do. If one party is unsatisfied after the declaration, there are still processes within our laws as to how this person can take it up. But there is nowhere in our laws where the Electoral Commission or anybody for that matter, other than the court, is able to come and say that we've had an election, but we will not call it unless we go and reconduct the election in certain polling stations. The bizarre aspect of this whole Ablekuma situation is that Electoral Commission went to Parliament, the House of Records, barely 3 weeks ago to go and brief Parliament on the situation at Ablekuma North. Then they told Parliament that they have done all the collations except for 3 polling stations. And they have written to the IGP for police protection so they can conclude the collation of these 3 polling stations, you recollect. And that has always been the case. In fact, prior to they going to Parliament, the Electoral Commission itself had received an instruction from the court going to both the Electoral Commission and the police for them to go and conclude the collation at Ablekuma North. Is that not the case? So, if you come back a week later, after the government has withdrawn, in fact, after the chairman of the government of the day has threatened that you are going to be removed. 2, they withdraw your security, your military security setup at your residence and give all manner of excuses. After that, and then you come and tell us that all of a sudden, it is no longer a conclusion of a coalition of 3 polling stations, and that it is now 19 polling stations. It is worrying. The ridiculous aspect of it is that the three police stations that they have established since December 8th or 9th, and they've even reported to Parliament, one of them doesn't find itself even in the 19 that they are claiming we should rerun. And these are established 3 police stations that everybody admits that there has not been a coalition of those three polling stations. I think that this thing is not even just about Electoral Commission. Even the NDC, it is in their interest not to allow this to happen. You see, let me tell you something. This country has come very far when it comes to our democracy and electoral processes. This country needs to learn lessons from the past and make sure that all of us protect it. There is going to be elections, not just 2028, not just 2032. We have committed ourselves to multi-party democracy and all these electoral processes. If what the EC is attempting to do at Ablekuma North is allowed to stand, even the NDC should be worried. Because you see, what this Ablekuma North scenario is basically saying is that when we conduct an election in this country and one party feels that they have lost and so it is not working in their interest, they can besiege the either polling station or collation center, tear apart the electoral materials, and then when the electoral materials are torn apart, and there is confusion and chaos, they will say, let's go and run. And you can imagine what will happen if both parties decide to do this moving forward. I am from Ekuapem North. It's an MPP stronghold. You cannot, NDC, come and tell us, dictate the pace for us in that area. We'll choose which polling stations to make sure that we rerun and which ones we do not rerun. And you know how we'll do it? We'll destroy electoral materials. When we destroy electoral materials, you throw it into confusion. Once it's thrown into confusion, there is a precedence. The precedence is that if you succeed at destroying electoral materials, then you come and call for a rerun. And when you call for a rerun, it will be done for you. It's a bad precedent. It's dangerous for all of us. It is not in the interest of the NDC. It is not in the interest of the MPP for this to happen. We need to let people understand that tampering with electoral processes cannot be rewarded. That you will not benefit if you tamper with electoral processes. And that if you decide to do that on election days, you are just wasting your time. But if we don't do that and we allow Ablekuma to stand, we are telling everybody that in any election, at every rate, at every point in time, you can decide to tamper with the processes, call for a rerun, and the Electoral Commission would rerun. And that if the Electoral Commission decides not to rerun, you can follow a precedent that happened in 2025 with Ablekuma North. I think that it is dangerous. And I say this not because Ablekuma, I mean, we don't, to be very honest, whether Ablekuma North is added to our seat or not, it makes no difference.
Indeed, in Parliament.
It makes no difference.
To the numbers.
It's at all. It makes no difference. And that is why I am appealing to our NDC friends that let's protect ourselves. Listen, NDC has won elections about 4 times in this country. MPP has won elections about 4 times in this country. Between MPP and NDC, nobody is superior to the other when it comes to elections in this country. Normally, when you win elections like NDC has won in 2024, in the first 1 year, 1.5 years, you think that you are above, you're on cloud 9. It happened to all of us. In 2017, when we won elections, the whole of 2017 and 2018, it was trolling of the NDC. NDC egu. By June, the NDC egu. By September, the NDC egu and go to Twitter everywhere. Here we are today. So we need to be guided and understand that this is not about that seat. MPP can decide to ignore that seat and let it go. It makes no difference. NDC can decide to ignore that seat and make it go. It makes no difference. But that precedence,
you think that's dangerous?
It's dangerous. Because the whole scenario around Ablekuma North is one of chaos, one of violence, one of disruption. And that is something that we shouldn't allow anybody to think that when he does this, he will benefit from it. And I am with the party. If the party decides that they are not going to run for Ablekuma North, I am with them. But the NDC should be wary that if they go ahead and rerun these elections with the Electoral Commission, they have given all of us a signal that moving forward, we cannot do what they did at Ablekuma North.
Thank you. Let me say good morning to Hamza. Hamza Suyuni is a member of the NDC's communications team.
Good morning. We kept saying that there is nowhere in the world that a 24-hour economy operates everywhere in the country. There's nowhere. Even in the most advanced worlds, go to the street of Washington. By 8 p.m., the biggest malls you can think of are closing. Even Oxford in the UK, you have 24-hour economy, but probably just in the city of London, the Oxford Street and all of that. So we kept saying it, but they did not listen to us. They've launched a document they call the 24-hour policy. And basically, the 24-hour economic policy is basically a footnote, simply a footnote of the Ghana Beyond Aid document. If you look at the Ghana Beyond Aid document that was launched by this country, it is holistic, it is comprehensive, it has a massive industrialization drive, economic revival in there that is already being implemented. And I would ask everybody to go and pick the document and look at it. Go to the Ministry of Trade website. You will see policy documents that have been there since Kufuor era that are basically reflecting in this 24-hour economy. That is not what they promised. They promised us. Look at the automotive industry that was activated in the past 6-7 years. 8 of them or more of them in this country. Something we've never seen before. These are all things that are already happening. So you promise us heaven and earth. You come to office and then you come and put together existing policies and existing documents and present them a bureaucratic document and present them to us as your policy for 24-hour economy. Let us be real. This is not politics. The fact that you give money even to a business does not mean that business would automatically have to operate 24 hours. If the demand and the need for it is not there and you even force them to operate that way, that business will collapse. So you have to come clear and clean and tell us that the 133 that you promised explicitly that we should vote for you and that when you come to office you will implement, you simply are unable to do it. And that what you have launched is simply an industrialization policy.
This document does not do justice.
No, it doesn't. I mean, this document is no different from the Ghana Beyond. It's no different from the economic program that President Kufuor had. It's no different from the economic program that Atamils had. There's no difference.
Isn't that where the problem is? Because if it should date back to even Atamils, we've not been able to fully implement.
I agree.
Then we have a problem.
I agree. That is why I am saying that it's a deceptive government. You see, it's a big deception. It's a grand scheme of deception. That you promise us one thing and you are delivering something else. You see, what they have produced is exactly what we spoke about when they went about this country making that unrealistic promise of 24-hour economy or with night clubs, with football clubs and all of that. That is the point we kept making. That before you be able to get an outcome of a 24-hour economy, you must stimulate the economy. And that once you properly stimulate the economy, the outcome of those individual separate policies may produce a 24-hour economy. But you don't put it in the minds and the heads of the people that I come and I'm going to introduce something called 24-hour economy.